Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're here for the first time, thanks for stopping by today to check out this candle review. And if you like home fragrance, you like candle reviews, you like talking about those things and little chit chat and hearing about what I'm burning, you might want to hit the subscribe button to get alerts for my upcoming videos. I have a lot of reviews coming, so whatever the case, whatever brought you here, I'm glad to have you here today. We're going to be talking about Fireside Chai from Kringle Country Candle. But before I dive into that, I do need to let you guys know I am a Kringle Candle ambassador, and I was gifted this candle for my review, and I will still be giving you my honest thoughts. But so you know, I do have an ambassador discount code that anyone's welcome to use to get 15% off. So if you use my code, Simply Scented, at checkout on kringlecandle.com, qualifying purchases will get 15% off, and I do get a small commission based off of those purchases. So please only use it if you're okay with that. And really anything that I make in any sort of commission, I put right back into this channel right here in the form of this type of content. So thank you to anyone who's ever used it. It really does make a difference. It really does help. And the full terms will be always in the written description of my video. Feel free to look that over, as well as the code that I just mentioned. You'll always be able to find it there. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I don't want anyone to feel confused or misled in any way. So with that said, let's get back into our review. All right, so for Fireside Chai, we have the alluring scent of soft billowing wood smoke lingering over a spiced medley of warm cardamom, sparkling ginger, fragrant black pepper, and crushed cinnamon. They give us top notes of bourbon and cider, mid notes of wood smoke and wood, and base notes of amber and spice. All right, guys, we got a lot to talk about here with this one. You might notice first and foremost, this is not burned as much as I normally like for my candle reviews. I've sort of given myself the goalpost with these country candles to get the wax level below the word candle on the label there. And as you can see, I'm not quite there yet. And I will explain why as I kind of get into this review. So first and foremost, this is not really necessarily in my wheelhouse, but I do enjoy a good wood smoke scent. And I was really hoping for that sort of kind of coming in from the cold, warm you up, sort of, spiced, smoky fragrance with this one. And on cold, really what came to the forefront for me was that bourbon, and it almost had a little bit of a sweetness to it that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't getting a lot of the smoke. It was there, but to the background. Also wasn't getting a lot of the spice. Again, there, but kind of faint, not really pronounced. And I really started to think that, maybe this is one of those ones that really needs to go from cold to warm and to really get the full effect here. I've had a lot of Kringle candles, especially that you really need to burn it to get the full picture of what, what the fragrance is going to be. So I wasn't too, nervous on cold sniff. It still had some promise for me, but kind of getting into that burn. The first burn, I would say, was probably the best burn here. And that is unusual for me. The first burn, it still had some of that promise. It was still bourbon first, but it did feel kind of cozy with a little bit of a spicy undertone. And I was getting a little bit of that wood smoke. And still, at that point, I felt like, okay, a couple burns in and this is going to find its groove. And, this will be, even if it's not my favorite fragrance, it'll be sort of a cozy one. And, we'll go from there as far as the review goes. But honestly, guys, I'm really struggling with this one. The performance, I think, is having a big impact on the scent. Performance-wise, it is very, very light. And I have tried everything. I've moved it to a smaller room. I've put it in a hurricane. My last two burns were longer burns in a hurricane, which usually, if there's one that's struggling a little bit, if I do that just to trial, just to see, because that's not my typical practice for when I'm burning for reviews. When I'm burning for reviews, it's generally just on my counter in a couple different spaces in an open concept space, and just letting the candle perform in itself. But when something is struggling, I will try to, see if there's anything I can do to get a little bit more out of that performance. And I will always let you guys know when I do that. I will never say it's doing great and base that off of, something performance enhancing like a hurricane or a smaller room without telling you guys. I will always let you know. So in this particular case, because it was struggling and I was really even having a hard time even gathering what I was thinking about the scent because it was just so light. So, my last 2 burns, I would say about 5 hours or so. One might have been about 6 in a hurricane and, getting a decent pool, but I'm just not really getting much from this. And what I am getting, I'm not in love with. So what I'm smelling here really is mostly bourbon. They say cider, so maybe that's why it's coming across a little bit more sweetly. But what is happening for me is it's taken on some sort of tangy quality. So I guess think in terms of like a sweet and sour where you've got your sweet, but you also have that tangy sort of background to it. I don't know if it's the way the spices are hitting. I don't know if it's the bourbon piece with the, I should say the alcohol piece of the bourbon that's giving it sort of this acidic, almost tangy sort of twang to it. I don't know what else, what other word to use, but what is happening for me is it almost is starting to resemble something along the lines of cough syrup. And it's not smoky really. There's like the hint of a smoke, but it's just really, I'm kind of just, my nose is focusing in on whatever that bourbon piece is, giving it sort of that almost like slightly medicinal, slightly acidic sort of tangy quality to it, contrasted by a little bit of a sweetness. And guys, I'm just not loving it. And, I hate to be negative. I know ambassadors get kind of a bad rap. We're kind of doomed either way. If we love something, people say we're not being truthful, that we're exaggerating. But if we're negative, it's, we're not grateful. We're getting these candles to review and, how dare we say anything negative? So, it's kind of a catch-22, but, my integrity is important to me. And I believe very strongly that, why would you guys believe me when I say I love something or I say something's performing well if I never give you those experiences that aren't exactly what you're looking for? We're only as good as our negative reviews, because if we don't give any negative feedback, if we sugarcoat everything, it's really not real. It's not believable. No company out there is 100% all the time. Not every candle is going to hit right. And when I am critical, it is coming from a place of love and wanting a candle company that I enjoy, whose products, 90% of the time I do enjoy, wanting them to succeed. But, you have to kind of take the bad with the good. You can't win them all. So, hopefully that doesn't come across, this doesn't come across in too negative a way. And it's never fun to come on here and say a candle is not doing it for you. But, so essentially that's why I chose to just kind of jump on and review it now, because I really don't see a lot of that changing. Over a few more hours of burn time, I really don't see a huge difference coming. And just based on the chatter that I'm hearing in, the Kringle Facebook groups and on Instagram and, the various platforms, I don't think you guys are going to be happy with it if I come back and say, well, it did start performing better, but it took, a good third of the candle, or it took half the jar to really, get there. That's not going to be acceptable. So, with that in mind, knowing I have a lot of other candles that I need to review, a lot of other hours I need to devote to burning them, I just kind of felt like, giving this a lot more time wasn't really going to make much of a difference. And I'd rather take that time and devote it to ones that I think you guys will actually, enjoy a bit more. And I hate to yuck somebody's yum. So that's like the one thing I hate doing when I'm saying something negative. I'm sure somebody's going to like this one, and they're going to, sometimes they get offended by me saying I don't like it. And I'm very, very sorry for that. But I have to give you guys the truth of what I feel like I'm experiencing. It's all subjective. I don't know if anybody else has, talked about this one yet. I haven't really paid too much attention to the reviews. I know others have reported it being light. But as far as the scent goes, I don't know if maybe it's, working for somebody else. Maybe it's just my nose. This could be a me thing. But, I can only go based on what I'm experiencing and what's happening for me. And like I say, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference if I burn it too much more. And, I don't think you guys are wanting to have to burn a significant amount of a candle to get performance. I know that's kind of been a hot button issue, but yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with this one, guys. I'm so sorry to say that. I really had high hopes. Again, I might give this one a few more burns once I get caught up on some of my reviews, just to see if there is any improvement. And, if I do that and I notice a difference, I will certainly report it back to you guys. But as of right now, I'm sorry, but Fireside Chai is just not hitting for me. I do have some good ones coming up, so let's try to end this on a positive note, and hopefully this is just kind of a one-off. Maybe it was a mispour, maybe it's a bad batch. I just really don't know. I can only speculate, but for me, it's a no. Please, if you do like it, let me know what you're getting from it. I'm really, truly curious what others are smelling. So please let me know in the comments. And I hope this at least shows you guys I'm not afraid to be honest at the very least. And, I'm trying to build a nice rapport with you all. I want you guys to trust that I'm always going to give you what I'm truly thinking, regardless if it's good or bad or ugly or otherwise in between. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Sorry it's not better news, but I do have some good ones coming up. So hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for those. And thank you guys again for joining me today. Take care.